Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far. So today it is March faves and fails. I have quite a small select number of products to share with you that I've been loving and a couple that not so much. So without further ado, let's get on with the news. I don't know. So first up, let's talk about this Dior Forever Natural Nude Foundation. I have been really enjoying this one. I wish it was a little glowier for my personal preference. It's not quite as dewy, luminous, glowy as like my ultimate favourite foundations, but it is a beautiful, smooth, natural foundation, and with using a lot of product, I can get this to even my skin tone out, all the redness and all of that stuff, but I do have to use a lot of it, a lot more than I do, say, with my Tom Ford foundations or say the Gucci. I can cover with like half the amount of product that I need to use when I'm using this one to get a very even out complexion. So that's just something to note. If you've got a lot to cover, it's not got that medium to full. It is like a medium just about on me. So yeah, that is the kind of pros and cons of it. It wears very well. It's very natural and beautiful, and it photographs very well. It doesn't transfer. I think it looks absolutely gorgeous on the skin. I just would, for it to be like a top couple of foundations, for me, it's just slightly less glowy because it is that natural finish as opposed to a luminous finish, but a very, very nice foundation. Next up, the new blushes from Laura Mercier. So I have Passionfruit on today. My absolute favourite is Bellini. These are the two new shades that I picked up, and they are just delightful. I just really wasn't sure that these were going to work for me, especially Bellini. I just thought it was going to be much too light. I think in some of the promo pictures, this is Passionfruit, they looked really light and I just wasn't sure if they were going to show. But these two shades are like my favourite Laura Mercier blushes, and you know that's my favourite formula, but Bellini is just it for me. It's the perfect light peach every day, but it's not too peach that you can't get away with wearing it when you've got like a more colourful eye look. It doesn't clash. It's just very understated, just a flush of colour, a hint of something. I just absolutely love it. It's probably become my like ultimate favourite blush, I think. I live for it. I live it. Next up, these brushes. This is a brush set from Rephr. I spoke about this as their newest brush launch, and it's a set of 4 brushes, and it is just so clever. I feel that Rephr, they always bring out brushes that are very clever, very well thought out, that fill a gap and do a job that you don't have a brush that did that as well before this brush came along. That's how I feel like they go about, you know, they do react to feedback incredibly well. And this brush, which is probably my favorite from the 4, which is the 26, this larger pencil brush, they told me that this was specifically made and created because of feedback from the community saying we need a bigger pencil brush, and it is just perfect. This is my #1 absolute favorite lower lash line brush of all time. So this is 26, nice and close. It's just ginormous and it's perfect for the lower lash line. Everything about it, it just could not get any better for that job. 27, the perfect like first brush, crease brush, soft, fluffy, the perfect size. It's just, yeah, the perfect blending brush all around. 28 is like a really perfectly sized, especially if you have hooded eyes like me, the perfect like lid packing shade, you know, to get shimmer. You can also use this with creams because it's very flat. You can see that. Picks up creams beautifully. And then 29, which I wasn't really sure what to do with at first. It's very firm and very dense, and I found is perfect for tight lining or winged lining, especially with powder. It just literally does the job for you. So that is Rephr's current set, their newest set, and it is like half price almost on their website at the moment. And it is just, if people ask me a lot which brushes to get, this is the perfect set. If you don't have any luxury brushes or you don't have any natural hair brushes, you want to try Rephr for the first time, this set, I think it's just going to give, you can do your whole eye look with these four. So yeah, that would be a really good place to start if you're not sure where to start with Rephr brushes, especially as they're such a great price right now. So next up, the Naked Wild West palette from Urban Decay. It's not what I've got on today, by the way. This is the Circo Loco palette from Natasha Denona. I'm not going to talk about that today because this is the first time I whacked it on my eyes, so I still need to play around with it a bit more. But this palette I have been using for like several weeks now, and I really love it. It's not as high of a quality as like Natasha Denona Pat McGrath shadows, but it obviously is a different price point. It is a lot more affordable than those brands, so you do notice a difference. But I certainly wasn't disappointed. I certainly didn't have any issues or trouble using the shadows. They're just a little less impactful. That's where you notice the difference. The shimmers are not as impactful and the mattes are not as creamy as those higher end brands, but the shades work beautifully together. You can get, it's a very misleading palette, this, because I feel like it looks very grungy and dark and nighttime, and there's a, you know, these colors can be a little intimidating. It's a very, very versatile palette, I feel, but you kind of wouldn't know that to look at it. I feel like you can get very easy everyday looks. You can get a bronzy eye out of this. You can get a very easy or matte look out of this, and then you've got a pop of color if you feel like doing something a bit more exciting one day. It's kind of got something, if you're very color shy, which I am, this is going to give you some colour to play with, while it being a safer option because you know that you can always go back to your neutrals if you are, you know, not feeling brave one day, or you're just not feeling like doing a green look or doing an aqua type of look. Then it's got lots of other options in here, so it's not going to be a waste if you are shying away from these kind of pop shades. But it's just very easy to work with, very, very pretty and understated, and I've really been enjoying it. No regrets at all about picking this one up. Next up, this last month, I very late to the party, very late, picked up one of the Natasha Denona lipsticks. So the one that I'm wearing today is Liron, I think it's called Liron, however you pronounce that. And I picked up a liner in the shade Naya, NB4. So Naya, the liner, and Liron. And I picked these up because I saw Natasha posted a load of different photos of models wearing different lip combos. And the model that I saw wearing this combo, which is what I've got on right now, I was like, I need that combo. I want that combo, that nude lip combo. I loved it. It looked perfect for what I wanted. So I decided to pick up these two products, and I instantly just fell in love with both of them, but especially the lipsticks. Liners, I just can't get that excited about. But these liners from Natasha are just the smoothest, silkiest glide over the lips formula without you losing the entire thing in one swipe. I feel like the Charlotte Tilbury are very, very creamy, but I have to sharpen them like every time I use them because they're so creamy, it's like they've disappeared. I think the Lisa Eldridge ones as well, I find that a lot of the time. With the Natasha ones, they're just as creamy, but they don't seem to completely wear down quite as quickly, so they're going to last a little longer. But this shade, the Liron shade, is like, it's very, very light, so I have to use it with a liner, otherwise it'll be, you know, a bit of a foundation lips situation, as you can see. But I loved this formula so much that I instantly ordered 3 more. So I now have 4 shades and they're all just gorgeous. Sami, I think, is my favorite. I've been wearing this one a lot. You may have noticed in videos. This is just like, you can see how much deeper it is, so I don't need a liner with Sami. It's a bit more kind of for me, for my skin tone. The Noah shade is just, again, something I just don't really have. The perfect kind of mid-tone, beautifully like neutral. So we've got Let me swatch the fourth before we start confirming the names. And then lastly, Yana, which was again one of the ones that were really, really popular when I watched lots of lip swatching videos to decide what shades I needed to get. Yana was like everybody's favourite. So here we have Yana, Noah, Sami and Liron. Just stunning. Just an option for every day of your life. I absolutely love all of them. They're just so easily worn, no thought process, just whack any of these on any day of the week and you're going to be good to go. And this liner is just it, this shade. It's going to go with like every single nude that you own. You can use it lightly or you can use it heavy and go over your whole lip line depending on what look you're going for. But it's a very, very versatile shade that I'm really finding I can use it with a lot of different lipsticks that I already owned, including this next lipstick, which is so special to me. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Nude Romance. Absolutely insanely stunning packaging. I love it. But this lipstick is one of, if not my ultimate favorite, like all time. And I easily pair these two together. I've worn these two together a few times and they go beautifully. It's got that stunning heart embossing on the bullet, which is just such a beautiful touch. But you guys know I've been wearing this non-stop since the moment I got it. Like every photo on Instagram, I've been wearing this. Everyone's asking, what shade is that? What shade is that? It's like, I don't want to say it's my all-time favorite ever lipstick because I feel like that's a huge claim and I just can't really remember all of the lipsticks that I have. But I pretty much think if I was to pick one, then that would be it right now because I just am in love with it. It's so flattering. It's the perfect shade. I love a peachier nude. I love that it's the kissing formula, so it's really glowy and glossy and plump looking on the lips. And I love, live and die for it. Now an oldie but a rediscovered goodie. This is the Marc Jacobs Tantalize bronzer. I'm terrified because my last one developed that crater in the middle that lots of people have found. So no, it wasn't this same one. It was the other shade, the Tantastic shade. This is Tantalize, so it's the deeper bronzer. I've really gone back to this bronzer. I've kind of been craving a new bronzer to try because I've just got really bored of using my Charlotte Tilbury, my Gucci. So I went back to this one just because I haven't used it for so long and I've just fallen head over heels back in love with it. I've got it on today. I've been wearing like no other bronzer since I rediscovered it because I've just really been loving it. It's very natural on the skin, very easy to blend in and it wears really nicely, but I just find it's just perfect for my skin tone. Doesn't mean I've gone off the Charlotte Tilbury or the Gucci. I'm just taking a break because I feel sometimes I crave a change and that's all that's going on. But yeah, I've really rediscovered how much I love that bronzer and it's just a treat to the nose as well. So a couple of non-makeup items to share with you. My perfume of the month this month is the Armani Prive Rouge Malachite. This is totally out of my comfort zone when it comes to a perfume. Nothing like the fragrances I usually go for because it's quite heavily floral, which is just not my thing at all. But there's just something so special about this and almost like animalic about it. I don't know how, given that it's so heavily floral, but there's just something different about this, special about this. And yeah, although florals are not like my typical preference, this one is just to die for. I get a lot of compliments about this fragrance and it's a perfect daytime, summer, spring or office fragrance because it's not quite as pungent as some of my other fragrances. The more sort of gourmand fragrances, the fragrances that are richer or boozier, there are kind of is an odd balance if you're working in an office or working around a lot of people because they'll be more divisive. You know, florals are very safe. You can't really hate it or be put off by it or, you know, wanting to get away from someone who's wearing it because it's just not as overwhelming as some of those other fragrances can be. So as we're moving into spring, summer, this is like a perfect choice if you just want to make sure that you're not offensive to anybody. If you work in an office in close quarters, this is a very safe, everybody will love it fragrance and I've really been enjoying it. Next up, the Olaplex No. 6 Bond Smoother. I think this is my favourite Olaplex product of all time. I even prefer this to the oil that you guys know I love. What I love about this is you use so little of it, such a small amount. When I first used it, I was having flashbacks from when I tried the number 5, I think it is, the like mask that you wash out. This is a leave-in treatment, so it says it reduces frizz, nourishes and protects, and you leave it in. So I will apply it after I've washed my hair, and I put like maybe a 50p piece size amount of product, and I rubbed it into my hands, and it was like, oh my God, there's so much here. And it was, I mean, it still was nice, but it was definitely, I'd applied much too much. And the next day my hair just felt a bit thick. So the next time I tried it, I used like half the amount, and it was still way more than I needed. And now I just literally use the teensiest little dollop, and I've got, you know, pretty long hair, rub it between my hands, and it just goes so far that it's going to be really good value. You know, Olaplex, it is pricier. I don't love spending money on my hair. I don't get excited about hair products, but the fact that this is going to last me much, much longer, and I'm going to get much, much more uses out of this than I did the previous treatment that I tried, really makes me more inclined to love it and want to repurchase it. But I wake up, you know, I go to bed, I put this in my hair when it's damp, and the next day, oh, it makes it, you get that instant gratification, you know, as soon as your hair's dried, you can see the difference, you can feel the difference. My hair feels softer, less dry, less frizz. Like it just is a dream to feel and see the difference in your hair, and you get it instantly, which I love, because I just want that. I don't want to wait for 6 months to see the change. I want it overnight, and this gives you that, but you also know that it's working to repair your bonds as well at the same time. So yeah, this is an absolute love for me. Would absolutely repurchase it again and again. And another hair item, you can see I'm making the effort with my hair, can't you? And these are the Slip Silk Scrunchies. I picked these up about a week ago. So this is a kind of new thing, but it's not something I feel I need to kind of use for weeks and weeks to tell you how I feel about it, because they were an instant win for me. I really didn't think that they would be as elastic as they are. Like I thought they'd be really like flimsy, you know, like a traditional scrunchie. I thought it would have that kind of feel, and it's not really going to hold my hair in place, but I can easily do a messy bun with this, a pony. I can do anything, and it will keep it in and hold it just as firmly as an elastic, but obviously much less stressful on your hair, and it just feels more comfortable on my head as well. Like I get a lot of migraines, so I don't like having my hair feeling pulled, and there's a lot less strain. Like you can feel it on your head. It feels more comfortable to use these than the previous like elastics, the traditional like bobbles that I would using before. And so yeah, I really recommend them. They are very, very nice. They are obviously expensive, but you do get quite a lot in the pack, so hopefully they're going to last quite a long time. So now for the products that weren't the best for me this month. One is the Nabla Vicious Mascara. Now I didn't mind this, I didn't hate this when I reviewed it. I was kind of on the fence as to whether I liked it or not. I've used it a good few times since, and I wouldn't necessarily say it's a fail. It's a fail for me. I wouldn't repurchase it. I'm not excited to try and use it anymore, but yeah, it's not a terrible mascara. This is the like crazy like panther mascara. The thing about this mascara that I don't like is that it gives you an uneven lash, if that makes sense. So I've read this on the description that this is what they intend to do. They want the lash to be thicker at the root and thinner at the tip. That's what they're going for, because they want you, that's the look that the mascara is designed to give. And that's just not for me. I feel like it makes my lashes look quite spindly and spidery, which is not my favorite thing. I find it quite tricky to use on my lower lashes, which was a surprise because it has a very small brush, but it dumps too much product on my lower lashes, and I kind of find I'm poking myself in the eye a lot with it because the brush is so small. It's kind of a little bit harder to control. It's also the large, I mean, it is cool, I get it, but at the same time, when actually not that practical, because it's quite heavy and large as far as mascaras go. So yeah, it's definitely not one that I'm in love with and want to keep using. So yeah, sadly, not a winner for me. And last but not least, the Becca Dewing Tint. So I don't have this with me because luckily I didn't purchase it. I just got a few samples of this with other orders that I placed. I think Cult Beauty were doing sample packs. So I got to try this over a few days and I tried it a good few times to see how I felt, and I really do not like it. There's just so many things there's not much I do like about it. I think when I first put it on, I was pleasantly surprised that it actually quite toned down my redness. I didn't think it was going to have any coverage at all, but it definitely has some coverage, so that's a pro. I also think it looked deceptively good in photography and on camera. Like when I took a photo and I thought it looks beautiful in the photo, but obviously like the camera actually does lie. I don't know if you guys have learned this trick yet, but the camera does lie, especially your front camera. So yeah, I was like, oh, it actually looks really, really nice in the photo, but the reality was a different thing. It was like I'd put illuminator, like a liquid illuminator, say the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter, over my whole face. That's what it was, just like a metallic man. That's how I looked. It never really dries down, so it stays tacky just forever and transferring on everything. But my biggest issue with it was that it creased. It creased in every single line on my face like I've never seen anything crease before. I had like 100 lines across my moustache. Like it was just, yeah, it was not okay. I do hate and I feel awful about kicking a brand when they're down, because obviously Becca are on their way out, but at the same time, I would love to save you guys money, and I cannot lie to you, it was just a disaster on me. Maybe you might have a different experience. I hope you do if you've purchased it, but it is a definite categoric no from me. So there you have it. Those are my faves and fails for the month of March. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'd love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.